Content warning. This is a horror game and not intended for all audience. Please visit our website if you need a specific list of content warnings. This also contains flickering image effects as well as a parallax effect that on rare occasions causes motion sickness in players. If either of these effects cause health issues, you can disable them in game's preferences. Greetings and salutations everyone. This is Slay the Princess Pristine Cut. I was going to start in the actual file itself, but something interesting happened in the background, and I'm hoping that it'll happen while I was trying to wrap up other games, and yeah, I'm hoping to trigger it off again. I think it's time-based though, so we actually do have to idle a bit. Oh, looks a bit like we're getting some tangly vines off to the side. Oh wait, no, there it is. Okay then, so...
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess.
So then, greetings and salutations everyone, I'm Akamek, this is Slay the Princess Pristine Cut. I probably already said that, but I need to say it again because my attention span is bad. I kind of want to talk about my theories on the game before we get, quote-unquote, spoiled by playing through further of the game. Because according to The Long Quiet, or I still can't remember what the name of the Omni Princess is, this will be the last loop. After that, she can return all the other aspects of her to herself. I think what might be happening is that the princess is actually some sort of omnipotent figure, and we're just being used as a way to keep her captured. And every time we go on one of these different routes, it opens up a different aspect of her past. Incidentally, I also realized while editing that the implication with the Chapter 3 for the Nightmare, the implication is supposed to be, oh, wait, you've actually been doing this many times and you still can't win. I didn't realize that there were secret Chapter 3s until that point, which is why it came off as so strange to me. That said, I have thought about which route I should take, or even though I don't actually know where they'll send me, I think I know what I'm going to do this time around. I have been actually a little bit... So I've done both of the let the princess kill me type endings. Unfortunately, I cancelled one of them out by just walking away, but you have what you have. I've done ones where I do try to kill the princess. I think but there's also... We'll get to it when we get to it. Point is, it's rather interesting how much those actions in that first chapter will actually shape the second chapter, and it makes sense when you stop to think about it. You chose to run away from her after stabbing her. Of course she's gonna turn into a terrifying entity. You did actually try to kill her, and she broke you with her bare hands. Of course she's now a giant goddess. The one that probably is the least interesting is Damsel, but that's also probably on me. Maybe I could have made it more interesting by stabbing her, but I'd rather not, thanks. And you do feel bad for her when you hear about his happiness supposed to be so cold. Anyway.
You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
Killing a princess seems kind of bad though, doesn't it? We have seen someone else. Oh dear. We could just say, I've always wanted to silently continue to the cabin.
You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them. Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Proceed into the cabin.
The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
Nope, not this time.
The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice softly carries up the stairs.
Hello? Is someone there?
It's hypnotizing. It's the kind of voice you only have to hear once to remember it for the rest of your life. Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation. You're playing a dangerous game by coming here unarmed.
Continue down the stairs.
Good. You're still listening to reason. It would be better if you had a weapon, but you may still be able to do what needs to be done. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. She's beautiful. How could someone like this be a threat to anyone? I am begging you to stay focused. There's a lot riding on you here.
Hi. Do you think you can get me out of these chains?
Hold on, let's talk a bit first.
Okay.
If I'm the first person you've seen in a while, what have you been eating or drinking?
I don't see what that has to do with anything.
This is the only time this is ever going to happen, but I agree with the princess. That's hardly relevant. Okay, but actually, what has she been eating? She has to eat, right?
I'm not going to retrieve the blade. It was sent here to... It looks like they've cut me out of our attempt to opt out. Is it because I didn't call back she's not feeling as friendly? I was sent to slay you. You're apparently supposed to end the world. I wanted to see you for myself. I'm still not sure what to believe.
Is that why they threw me down here? But I don't want to hurt anyone. I like the world, I think. I don't remember much about it, to be honest. I've been down here for so long.
Judging from what it took to get from Nightmare Chapter 2 to Chapter 3, I think it's gonna be... I think it might actually imply that she's some sort of immortal.
That's... How long has she been locked away?
Did they tell you how I'm supposed to end the world?
I was hoping you'd tell me.
I don't know how to destroy the world, if that's what you're getting at.
I believe her. She doesn't have to know how to destroy the world to be capable of doing it.
At the end of the day, whatever the two of us have going on down here is about trust. Whoever sent you to slay me claimed I was a threat to the world, but they didn't tell you why. I don't trust that, and I don't think you do either, or you wouldn't have come down here to talk.
She has a point. We're talking like this for a reason.
So this shouldn't be about what I'd do if I got out of here, or me saying the right thing to convince you to save me. This is about how messed up this whole situation is. This is my life we're talking about. Do you really think I can even end the world? Why would I even want to? We both know that if there's people we can't trust in this situation, it's whoever locked me down here, and it's whoever sent you here. And those two groups are probably one and the same.
So why is he in my head then?
Don't let her turn the tables here. This isn't about trust. This is about risk. We stand to lose everything, all for the sake of one person, and a subjugating monarch, no less.
Huh. They're really not letting me opt out of this. I really wanted to go for the examine the chains type ending, but I think that I might have exhausted all of those options. I can't kill you, but I can't just set you free. It's too risky. What if I just stayed for a while and kept you company? Maybe then everyone could be happy?
That seems like a pretty good compromise.
I don't think I could bear being down here that much longer.
Leaving her alive is too risky. If you don't deal with her soon, she will find a way out. So I'm the only one who liked that idea.
One way or another, I'm going to find a way out of here. It would make it easier for both of us if you'd help. But if you don't, I can promise that you'll regret that decision.
You have to make a choice. Let's hope for all our sakes it's the right one.
Ah, damn it.
Thank you. You turn back to the stairs, intent on retrieving the blade in the cabin.
Where are you going? You can't just leave me here.
Oh well, we've picked our route then.
Fine. Turn your back on me. But it won't be long before I slip these chains. And once I'm out of here, there will be hell to pay for leaving me behind.
Slip these chains? She can't, right? She needed our help to get out of here. But do you hear the conviction in her voice? I don't think she's bluffing. She has to be bluffing, but hurry. You rush up to the first floor, grabbing the blade, both yours and the world's only possible salvation. Okay, if we're sure about this decision, I'll support it. I suppose we have a world to save after all. You slowly creep down the basement stairs. It's quiet. Where the princess sat only a moment ago, there's only a severed arm, its cooling flesh still chained to the wall. And she is nowhere to be seen. Is it just me? Or did this room get a lot bigger?
Let's finish this.
Your eyes dart to the corners of the room. You don't see her. Where is she?
Close the door behind you.
You close the door behind you. Almost magically, its locks immediately click into place. Maybe they'll open if you finish the job.
Oh, wait.
Do you want to play a waiting game? I've been down here a long, long time. I'm very good at waiting.
You do your best to patiently wait her out. But eventually, exhaustion starts to set in. Come on, wake up. We can't fall asleep down here.
Venture into the shadows. We really can't risk waiting then.
You step into the shadows. Too late, you hear the quiet patter of feet against the basement floor, followed by the taut pull and sharp pain of tearing flesh as the princess lunges into you from behind and drags you to the floor. Her ferocity overwhelms you, and as the princess rends flesh from bone, your limp fingers lose their grip on the blade. It slips from your hand, your one last means of defense lying useless beside you in a pool of your cooling blood. I suppose you just lacked the will to fight back.
Yeah, narrator is never a help in Chapter 1, is he?
This is the end, isn't it? I'm afraid it is. You shouldn't have let that fear creep into your heart. You had the upper hand, and now look at you. Everything goes dark, and you die.
So what I actually wanted to do was to start the save her route, but then stab her at the last second, which would have been a very nasty thing to do, but I wanted to get it during that she starts biting off her own arm cutscene, because I figured that might lead to something interesting. That said, this game is always interesting, so this will probably be interesting as well. I'm also going to change my tactic here. In the past, if I start out on her side, then I stayed on her side, but if I started out, and by started out I mean letting her kill me at the end of the Chapter 1. But if I start against her, then by trying and failing to kill her, then I would keep that and end up getting shoved into Chapter 3 and moving on. What I see here is starting out against her. I did want to pick up that "what have you been eating" line though. Start out against her, but then it quickly swaps sides in Chapter 2, so that's what we're tackling here. Oh, this is the thing that I was figuring I'd try to get.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
Okay, no.
Oh, don't you start grandstanding about morals. The fate of the world is at risk right now, and the life of a mere princess shouldn't stop you from saving us all. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way. If he doesn't remember what happened, then something else must have trapped us here. You're not trapped here. Nobody's forcing you to do anything, though the only sensible thing for you to do right now is march up to that cabin and slay the princess.
You'd think that, wouldn't you? I kind of want to look into, I kind of want to see what he has to say about the princess killing us this time, but,
Those are two. Let's say if you're... We did our best with... And yet you still died, didn't you? So, great. Congratulations. You've been given another chance to actually do this right.
We did our best with the information we were given.
And I believe your other question was something along the lines of, oh, what's the point of doing anything? What do you mean? Of course there weren't any consequences. We were killed by the princess and now everyone's right back where they started. That sounds pretty consequence-free to me.
Except we also have an extra voice in our head. And that's also a rather interesting aspect of this, that each time we get a voice which closely relates to what we did last time, and that this can carry over into a Chapter 3 to give us an extra voice. For example, we chose to try and take an opportunistic strike on the princess, which is what led us to the witch route, so we had one that's always looking out for number 1, and to get advantages. But because we chose to fight to the death in that chapter, the next chapter gave us Voice of the Stubborn, alongside Voice of the Opportunistic. This really is an interesting game. I don't think I want to Let's Play showing everything, but I definitely wanted to show my first try at the game.
Yes, but in this purely hypothetical scenario, that begs the... If it's the latter, do you think the people there lived happily ever after? Or do you think all the more reason to keep our wits about us, should we even return to the cabin? We could find a safe little hole somewhere instead. You have to go to the cabin. If you don't slay the princess, she's going to end the world, which you're always going to be a part of, even if you're cowering in a hole. There's no escaping your responsibility here.
And the other aspect that I realized overnight is that the narrator has been addressed by certain princesses. The wild princess, that is the one that's part tree, recognizes him, and the Tower Princess wasn't just able to recognize him, she was also able to completely override his will. And that one actually does seem to go quite differently if you keep the knife. So by not taking the knife, I got subjugated. Oh dear. Okay, can we talk about this princess?
Just be quick about it.
Actually, wait. She killed me by ripping me to pieces. Don't get me wrong, I hated it. But how can someone like that end the world?
She just can. Believe me, I wish I could tell you more, but you'll just have to trust that what I'm saying is true, and that, despite it all, you're fully up to the task that's been given to you.
Okay,
Right.
whatever.
Now, if you
We don't have anything better to do.
A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. Does a cat lie to a cornered mouse when it plays with its freedom? Or is it just acting out its nature? I don't see why that matters. A lie's a lie, and if anything, she's the one who's cornered.
Oh, the ignorance of not knowing what this chapter is titled.
She could have gotten out of there whenever she wanted to. We should trust nothing that she tells us, only what we hear and smell. That's a very roundabout way of saying that you should listen to me and take this seriously. Maybe.
Proceed into the cabin.
The interior of the cabin is ruinous and dilapidated. It feels like no one has lived here for a long time, wind rushing in through cracks and holes in the wooden walls. The only furniture of note is a termite-eaten table with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
He always says the same thing about this cabin is different than last time, but you didn't. Maybe I can't remember which ones, and this is going to be our last loop, so
That's because there isn't a mirror. There's a table, the blade sitting on the table, and the door to the basement. There's nothing else in here. There's definitely a mirror. There isn't. What a strange thing to lie about. Maybe he doesn't see it. Much like he hasn't seen what's already happened.
why would you lie about that? What's the point?
Exactly. Why would I lie about something so meaningless? What good would a mirror even do? Let you waste time preening yourself instead of doing what needs to be done.
Approach the mirror.
You walk up to the wall next to the basement door. It's a wall. There isn't much to see here.
We always have to approach the mirror.
This really isn't funny.
Wipe the mirror clean.
You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now. But it was there a second ago, and now it's gone.
This cabin is different from last time.
Very different. I wonder why. Maybe that's because you haven't actually been here. So focus up. A lot's riding on this.
We're ignoring the blade.
No steel claw. Do you think we can talk our way out of this? I don't think she wants to talk. I guess we'll just have to trust that we made the right call. It'll still be here if we need it. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing what's left of an old wooden staircase. It's still sturdy enough that you can make your way down in one piece, though you'll have to be mindful of holes. The air seeping up from below is oddly warm and wet, as if you're descending into a jungle. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favor. She growls up the stairs.
I can smell you.
She sounds almost feral, impatient, or maybe eager. You carefully make your way down the stairs. The last step gives way to the damp earth floor of a starlit pit. The walls are obscured by an impenetrable darkness, giving the illusion that the room might stretch on forever. You brush against the wide leaves of plants that surround you on all sides, seemingly the only living things that occupy this strange underground wilderness.
You say that, but I can very clearly see part of this round's princess.
The jungle is pressing in on us, hiding her from view. She could be anywhere. You see only a flash of the princess before she scurries away into the underbrush, dragging her heavy chain behind her. Remember, she's just a princess. She is certainly not just a princess. You're not helping.
Neither are you.
It doesn't matter what she is. It only matters what she does. Her shining eyes appear between the leaves, staring hungrily at you from the darkness.
I can hear your heart pounding from the bottom of the stairs, fledgling. You're right to be terrified. I'm so much more than you.
A shiver rushes up your spine and pulls you upright. The air's shifting. She's getting ready to pounce. Move, now.
We don't have to kill each other. You know that, right?
You manage to avoid her snapping jaws, but you aren't fast enough to evade the whole of her titanic momentum. She grazes you, the force of it enough to skin you all along your side, leaving a line of red, raw flesh. It's like being sideswiped by sandpaper. How is she that fast? This isn't working. We have to do something. We have to figure out a plan. Don't plan ahead. Act on the now. All that matters is that we stay alive. We're trying, but we can't keep this up much longer. We have to. We keep up or we die.
You're getting slow.
She seizes the opportunity, lunging once again from the darkness, fangs bared and claws flashing. She attacks over and over and over, and each time she leaves with a little piece of you. Too tired to think, but we have to think. We have to move. It's too late. Before you get the chance to react, it's over. She makes her last foray from the dark corners of the room, unhinging her dripping maw, her eyes fierce and full of hunger. You do your best to dive out of the way, and you partially succeed. Partially? Yes. The princess fails to swallow you whole. She only swallows your lower body. That's just as bad. That's worse, even. It's death either way. At least this will be a faster end. You look down to see that the dirt between you is strewn with your intestines, trailing all the way up and disappearing behind her blood-stained teeth. Your legs are nowhere to be seen. You start to go into shock. The princess, bloody saliva dripping from her lips, idly gnaws on what's left of you as you rapidly fade away.
I didn't mean to do that. I still need to devour you. And it doesn't count if you're dead.
We're not dead, But you don't have time to protest her premature observation of your death, because everything goes dark, and you die.
Well, that wasn't what I hoped would happen. I didn't think she'd be so brutal about it. Chapter 3, The Den.
You're on a path in the That didn't work. We're going in with a plan this time. We're not getting stuck in another loop, just acting on instinct. We're stuck in a big enough loop as it is.
Oh, hey, Skeptic. I was worried I'd never get to see you again.
Instinct was keeping us alive. Until it wasn't. So what are we supposed to do? Great, so you've been here before. That doesn't bode well. You're not supposed to have been here before. This is supposed to be one and done. So you know more than you're letting on. Yeah, what he said. Of course I do, but believe me, it's in your best interests. The more you know about the princess, the more difficult your task will be.
I've got bad news about that. I know an awful lot about an awful lot of princesses.
Why is that? Having me explain why would defeat the whole purpose. There are simply some things I'm not allowed to tell you. It's a hard rule. And whose rule is it? Who's telling you to boss us around? We've died twice already, and if you want us to stay alive this time, it's in your best interests to give us an edge. It's my rule, and this conversation is over.
The path is different than it was before.
You're right. This is different, isn't it? I'm starting to lose track of things myself. Ground is ground. It doesn't matter what shape it takes. We'll adapt. If it looks different, that's because the situation has started to spiral out of everyone's control. So please, disavow yourself of the notion that you can just come back here and fix this place if you manage to make a mess before that line of thinking leaves you yet another world in ruin. Though, as evidenced by you dying twice, it's safe to assume the fates of the worlds you've left behind don't concern you very much. Consider this your last opportunity to make things right. For you and for the rest of existence. But especially for you. Clearly we're not getting anything out of him.
I want answers. What's going on and what are you not telling me?
Like I said, I've told you as much as I can without putting you at a disadvantage. If anything, I've told you too much. You've already died by her hands twice. You shouldn't need much in the way of motivation.
I'm done with this. Bye! No, okay. What if we just leave? What happens
It
then?
doesn't seem like she can escape on her own. Maybe not quickly, but it's inevitable. That cabin won't last forever. And she will. Forget I said anything. Just treat this with the urgency it deserves.
Okay, what's the plan?
She spent as much time as she could in the shadows. So we're gonna draw her out.
Ah. Now that is, that actually does connect with what we've mentioned before. What I mentioned about how our actions would change how she develops. The first time we did actually just... We basically gave her warning. It was basically a warning of, yeah, we're probably going to have to kill you. Which gave her enough time to come up to get out of those chains. And then she goaded us into a waiting game. Well, no, actually she goaded us out of the waiting game so she could sneak attack us, and that made her into a bit more of a monster. Also, we've passed half an hour, so I guess next time we actually do finish this. Until then, guys, take care. I'll see you all around.